Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the IWillAim podcast. Our topic for today is the multi-generational legacy. How leaders can help or guide the next generation through uncertainty. With my special guest, Ebron. Hi, Eric. Good morning.
Good morning, Will. Good to see you.
Live from Clarksville, Tennessee.
Live from beautiful Middle America, Tennessee.
How about we do a quick introduction?
That sounds great. Hello, I'm Eric Ebron. I'm the owner and founder of SME Media Group, LLC. We provide services, coaching, counseling services for small and mid-sized businesses, getting them ready for the future. We have the Future Ready Transformation System, which allows them to do a nice, firm assessment of where they're going, how their leadership, how their AI readiness is prepared. And then, of course, we come in and help prepare them to get them to their best selves. We also perform SME publishing services where we have people come through, be able to put their best foot forward in print and ebook and get themselves ready for their future as well.
Wow, I'm excited for this conversation today. If you're listening to this episode, please like and subscribe, and more importantly, comment. Tell us what you think and what you learned from this particular episode. The first question I'm gonna ask you is really one of the toughest ones. As we're trying to talk about the future, what's that one skill that no amount of technology would ever replace?
Yeah, there's a lot of hubbub about AI, where we're going as an individual, whether you are ready or not ready for what the future is holding. As a business, whether you're catching up, and you actually have that space where your competitors are not moving past you. But the way I look at it, AI will never replace what we bring essentially as humans, which is that empathetic, compassionate spirit. Empathy and compassion brings us closer to our problems, bring us closer to our solutions. It connects us in such a way that AI would never be able to perform. I think humans have a unique way of spotting fakeness, and it's not like AI is fake or real. It is just what it is in its artificial sense. But we can sense when humans, we can sense when behavior, we can sense when the business partner on the other side or the business we're dealing with is a bit unscrupulous. We say something doesn't feel right in our gut, and that is a uniquely human aspect. And I think when we understand that these and there are about 4 or 5 other characteristics are so important and unique to humans, AI can never replace. So we can stand on that.
I love the fact that you mentioned empathy, because that's one of the superpower that human have. With empathy, you could build relationship and understanding.
When we look at the understanding of the world, right? There's a spirit about us. There's a feeling about us. There's a historical evidence that shows when we extend past ourselves to care about, those across the sea or those within our own neighborhood, we tend to kind of reap back at that effort that we put out there. And again, not only is it uniquely human, it's uniquely human to those that are powerful leaders. We hear it often that these leaders provided this level of service. This leader extended past the normal SOP and performed this for their people, or for hurricane relief, or for this. And we see that the company will reap way better rewards due to that. As an organization, as a body, as a collective we're putting together, we also, I believe, extend ourselves into this empathetic, compassionate world and say to ourselves, we have something to give back. And it's in that giving back that people will connect with. It's not just the AI, they will connect with who we are as humans.
I love the fact that you mentioned connect with, because that's an essential human behavior that even AI tried to. It's probably next to impossible.
Will, I'll tell you, when you and I interact, I come away with feeling better than when I interact with our team, when I interact with the mentees that I work with. I come away not just feeling better, but knowing what they added to what I already brought is magnified. And so it's that connection, it's that human connection. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of AI and utilizing its tools to become better, as we talked about. But when I come away with AI, I come away with I've done better, right? That they've expanded what I believe and my creativity. But when I'm working with you, our creativity is magnified.
I love it. I love it. Next, I want to cover a topic that's quite difficult to embrace, right? There's a lot of things that grabs our attention, seek our attention. I call it digital noise. How do we help the next generation focus on their vision and purpose and without the noise?
There's a quick story I have. Some years ago, I had a young ward, so to speak. I come to find out he looked up to me, which is great. And some of the peers and some of the people around him, the senior, was having a problem or issue with him being so engrossed on his phone. And so I called him to my office and I said, hey, listen, we need to talk. I want to find out, are you being distracted or disconnected from us when you're on your phone versus when your phone is down, we get the impression that you're connecting. And he says to me, well, Mr. Ebron, I'd be more than happy to put my phone down. He goes, but I just want you to know that ever since I was 15 years old, I've had an iPhone. He goes, when the sad times came, I used my iPhone. When my parents were divorcing, I had my iPhone. When I went through high school and college and I felt isolated from everyone, I had my phone. So now that here I am doing the best I can put my phone down. But I use it more than just to be distracted. It is a part of me. And it caused me, Will, to start to think, hey, there's a generational gap here that I'm missing, right? As I was bringing in young professionals, young smart college students, am I disconnected from what they rely on to be better themselves? And so to enforce your question, we've now gotten to a spot where there's digital noise, right? There's the short clips, whether some social media, everything is a 10-second soundbite or a 30-second new dance or some sort of trend. But I think for true creativity, for us that are professionals that are moving past ourselves, when we want to get to our best selves, we got to say to ourselves, I need to carve out time where the digital noise is away and I can focus on not just what creativity looks like, but what the best self looks like. So on my way over here, I may have said something like, hey, talking to my AI agent, I have a new idea, creative this, so on and so forth. Hey, Eric, great. I think you put together something that'll work. I said, we will pick this up on Wednesday between 6 and 8. What it does, it allows my mind to start to really utilize the humanness to see whether that's going to work or not work, and to mull it over and not just rely on the digital part. So digital noise, I think, is a big issue with us. Everything is bombarding us. Everything is bombarding us. And we need to carve out time throughout the day, the week, the month, to just be human and rely on our ingenuity. Because if we think about it, prior to the last 25 years, we have had a growth expansion in technology and everything without AI. Yeah. And so we don't want to lose that by then being so dependent on AI that we miss out on the human ingenuity that we have that carves us out for the last 20,000 years.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that explanation. And I love the fact that you use the power of empathy to instead of judging and bring the person into a conversation by judging their behavior, you seek to understand.
That's a part of growth. That's part of all of us, right? As senior leaders, we still have room to grow, right? There's a new generation of people that are picking up digitally things quicker. That sounds fine. But we have to not just keep pace, but we have to exceed the pace so we're able to understand when it hits us. As leaders, we're able to help navigate that and navigate those that we lead.
Perfect. Next one, we talk a lot about AI. AI literacy. How do we help people embrace AI and be comfortable with it?
There's a great fear, Will, I'm a storyteller, but there was a time maybe 30 years ago that I was utilizing a DOS-based system, and my guy's DOS-based system, everything was fine.
You're dating yourself.
I'm dating myself. And we were transitioning to a Windows-based system. And my eldest guy that reported to me was 60-something. And this is 30 years ago. And so when I taught him, he could understand F2 for this prompt and F5 for that prompt. But when it came to Windows, I said, okay, move the mouse, and I need you to left click on something. And he looks around and he's like, what's, and I said, that's a mouse. And he goes, huh. And I said, let's move it and go to File Explorer and click. And he takes his index finger and he pushes it, little at a time. And part of me was going, this guy's either so disconnected that he couldn't move a mouse, or there is a literacy issue here between digital and not. Yeah. And guess what? For me, I'm at that crossroad again, right? I'm now kind of coaching those that are saying, hey, how do I get into this space? What should I be afraid of? How is this going to work for me or not work for me? What part of my processes and workflows should maintain no digitalness whatsoever? And then how can I maximize my workflows with digital? Good coaching, good consulting, right? And this is just not a sell on my services, but we are the ones that are at the forefront of this. And so helping them to see that they should not be afraid, that we can get past this. Here are the workflows that would help. Let's talk about it. I think that's the key. And by the way, step one for those that are watching, write down and identify your workflows. If you don't know how your business actually performs what it performs, then it's going to be hard pressed to say, hey, AI, help me with this. Because it's going to want to start at the beginning and you don't know where the beginning are. You just know you get things done. And by the way, that's an old concept. There are some great leaders that just get things done. But AI doesn't work that way. It needs step-by-step process pieces. It needs to connect these workflows. It needs to improve and find efficiencies. And you as a leader need to understand what that looks like. So I think that's the key here, is that we shouldn't be afraid of, this coming out, but we should carve out time. We should understand that, digital literacy is important, and not everything you see on videos, these 30-second sound bites, this moving from GPT to Gemini to Claude to Copilot, all of those tools are great, but don't get caught up in what they're showing you. Stop, let's realize, and let's become literate in AI.
In essence, embrace the journey. Find time to learn about it. And if you're unsure where to start, here's the guy, Eric.
That's what we do.
We could help you. We could help you get started. But we want you to start with an open mind. Just like any journey, the first step is often the hardest. But I would say go in with an open mind and move in with enthusiasm. Want to learn something every day and jot down what you learn. As Eric said, identify, if you're a business person, identify your processes, your workflow. The more you know about what you do, the more successful you are in adapting to AI.
Will, you said, and I love the word enthusiasm. It stokes you like a fire. So if you've ever had a fireplace and you got this roaring fire, then after a while, just as it consumes whatever you're burning, it starts to go down, you start to see it go. But if you take a poker and you just poke, you start stoking that fire, you move some things around, it finds that there's more to consume, and it starts to get hotter, and it starts to, and before you know it, you flare up another fire. We need to do that with, again, our ability to want to do more. We need to stoke the fires of innovation within us, and the tools are ready. They're there. Just don't get lost in them, but they're there. Stoke.
I love and I'm imagining stoking the fire. So before we end this episode, so what's one advice you have for our audience today? How do you help encourage them to stoke the fire?
I used to say this years ago. I would go, and to sum up that story, my employee that was 60-something years old, I took the computer, and this is back in the day, so I took the box computer, I gave him a monitor, I gave him a keyboard, and I put it in his car, and I said, listen, take this home and plug it up. It's ready. I said, and every night I want you to play with it. I said, there's a game on here called Minesweeper, and I showed him mine, and I said, I want you to play Minesweeper every night. And he's like, Eric, I said, I know computers are not your thing, you didn't grow up with them, you know nothing about them, but spending that time every day, you will become proficient enough, not just to do your job, but when I hire someone and I ask you to train them, you will be ready. Wow. And after about a week, he came back and he's like, that Minesweeper's a good game. And I said, it is a great game. It's simple, but that's what I would give for advice now. So find a favorite, right? Whether that's, ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot or Claude. And when you find it, get in tune with it. Ask questions. Let it know who you are and what you want to do, what your dreams are, and what it can do. And ask these questions. Just keep it small and simple. Form, it's weird to say a relationship when we're talking about digital, but form this bond between your assistant and yourself. So it has an idea of what your expectations are, and you have an idea of what its capabilities are. Its capabilities, by the way, are nearly limitless, but you don't understand that. And so slowly build first grade, third grade, eighth grade, 12th grade, and then your knowledge and your ability to utilize it is great. So as of today, start, download, we have it through Microsoft, we have it through Google, there's ways, and start that conversation with what your dreams are, where you're going, where you've been, and then say, how can you help me get there next week?
And then if you're still stuck, find a mentor. There you go. This one goes first with Eric. So if people want to reach out to you, they love the episode, they learned a lot today, and they want to stoke the fire, they want to reach out to Eric. How do we reach out to Eric?
Perfect. You can find me, my website is ericebronconsulting.com, real simple. On Instagram is consult, SME. You find me on Facebook and other places, but you can also just Google search Eric Ebron Business.
Well, thank you, Eric, for your time today. It's been a great discussion, and I hope that our audience also love it. Like I said, subscribe, like, and I'm going to put his link to his website and his profile on LinkedIn when I post the episode. Thank you very much again, and have a good day.
Thank you.